Howdy, folks. This is Reverend Wayne S. Pierce right here for the 22nd of April, 2014. 2014 to some of you out there. There has been so much going on. I want to remind you, I found a couple of clips. One, an older one you may have heard before, but you probably haven't heard the second one. Now, I've put them together back to back, so there wouldn't be any, time, and I'll talk about them later is my point. But what I want, I'll play those later here in the show. But this is the Views Expressed Live podcast. How about the Views Expressed podcast? Not live, but a podcast. And it's usually... there's so much going on. There's just all kinds of interesting little tidbits of news out there. And the one thing that I want to talk about is don't be distracted by someone who, well, let's just say, says they're awake. Now, what do I mean by that? Well, it's really simple. There's a lot of people out there talking about certain things, about what's going on, how this plays out, how that I mean, they're talking a lot about what's going on, and they tell you that they're fully aware of what's going on, but had to take some coffee there, folks, but they just go right along with the state-run media's talking points. They give their views on that, and they don't give you any other information except what they are telling you and give their opinion on that article. Is that a bad thing? No, not at all. Because I do the same thing, but I go a little bit deeper. I open another door. I pull away the curtain a little more. And I show you things that you probably didn't know or probably never heard before. And the clips, when I get back from the break here in about a minute and a half, I'm going to share these clips and play these clips right away. I'll introduce them and I'll tell you who these people are. But this is something that you really, really have to listen to in light of and in regards to the I want to call it. It's Common Core. I want to call it Communist Core because that's the way the education czar in Washington, D.C. wants you to understand it. It's the education czar that says, oh, this is a wonderful thing for your kids. It helps them. I've heard myself personally, I've heard from one end of the spectrum how good and how bad Common Core is. How just unbelievably stupid do these people think we are? You know how I was educated? 1 + 1 is 2. And you go from there. And that's it. There's nothing complicated like this communist core that's out there that it's nothing complicated. It's so simple. There's nothing complicated. Okay, so anyway, yes, my my thoughts are all over the place. And I'll play these clips when I get back. And I'll tell you who they are, and I want you to listen to them yourself. You can email me, freeamericaradio@usa.com, freeamericaradio@usa.com. I shall return right after this. The hottest new talk radio show is on Revolution Radio. The BK Factor talks about news, religion, politics, and more. BK adds his opinion to all of it. The BK Factor airs Monday through Friday, 9 to 11 a.m. Pacific Time, noon to 2 Eastern. If you miss a show, you miss out. Hey folks, how you doing? Hey, this is the Views Expressed Live right here for the 22nd of April 2014. How are you doing? How are all of you folks out there? And let me know. I tell people, I give you my email address and all that. I want to know how you're doing, and you never email me, okay? I could go off in some other joke. But to get back to the show, and to talk about Common Core just a little bit, it sucks. Common Core is the worst piece of crap on the face of the planet. Now, I've talked to people on both sides of the aisle, say it's good, say it's bad. Let me make it very simple for you. Education should be in this regard: 1 + 1 = 2. That's how simple it should be. To get any more complicated than that requires one to educate the children in that fashion, not 4 years old giving them this Common Core bullcrap that teaches them about masturbation and sex and all these other things that you don't learn until you get into high school, okay, or junior high, okay. 1 + 1 = 2. Remember that. Keep it there. Keep it simple, and don't complicate a little 4-year-old, 5-year-old mind with bull crap that you don't need until later on in life. That's my view. I don't like it. I want it out of the system, period. Okay? The clip I want to play is from a couple of years ago, maybe a year or so ago, by Melissa Harris Perry. You've probably seen and heard this clip many, many times, but I want to set it up to tell you basically that our education system is in the toilet, okay? And the next person you're going to hear right after that is going to be Kevin Swanson, pastor and host of Generations Radio, talking about the crumbling education system. So, I want you to listen to this, and when I heard this, I went, that's right on. This is what is going to keep Common Core out of the school system, but I'll talk about it when I get back. Check this out.
We have never invested as much in public education as we should have because we've always had kind of a private notion of children. Your kid is yours and totally your responsibility. We haven't had a very collective notion of these are our children. So part of it is we have to break through our kind of private idea that kids belong to their parents or kids belong to their families and recognize that kids belong to whole communities. Once it's everybody's responsibility and not just the households, then we start making better investments.
These schools have destroyed our freedoms and have undermined our family values, have ripped apart the faith. 80% of kids leaving the faith. 40% of kids born without fathers, up from 6% 40 years ago. Where's it going to be 10 years from now, 20 years from now? 70% of young men not grown up by 30 years of age. That's up from 30% in 1970, per Newsweek magazine. We've got to do something different. The schools are failing. Yeah. The society is ripping our families apart. Our young men, our young women are aimless, purposeless. They have no vision in life. Things are going badly everywhere. The economy is falling. The social systems that we've grown up with are coming apart at the seams. Our entertainment is nihilistic. The political state is socialistic, Marxist. This is called devastation. Things are bad, but for us, things are really good because we keep getting back to the micro. We're not relying on the state to raise our children anymore. We're going to raise our own children. We're going to educate our own children. We're not going to rely on the state for welfare, for inheritance, for Social Security. We're going to pass an inheritance on to our children. We're going to rebuild our families. We're going to bring in a strong biblical economic system within our own families. We're going to teach our children these values while the rest of the world effectively is going to hell in a handbasket. We're going to rebuild family relationships. We're going to bring our children home. We're going to start discipling. We're going to rebuild our systems, our families, our faith, and our freedoms for generations to come.
That was Melissa Harris Perry in the first part of that, talking about how it's a collective idea to raise your children, that you don't have the responsibility to do that the state and everybody else should. The Kevin Swanson, pastor and host of Generations Radio, talking about the crumbling education system, he basically argued against Melissa Harris Perry's idea. These are two separate people, probably never met in their whole entire life, but there's two different sides of this issue. My opinion in all of this is you are the parent, you raise your kid, you educate your kid, not the community, not the school, not the state, not anybody else. You yourself. And if that means taking your 10, 12, 14-hour day at work and changing your schedule to where you're going to be home with your kid after 8 or 9 hours or whatever of work, then you have to do that. That's just the way it is. If you're too concerned about your overtime, about the extra money you're making, and blah, 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 then your priorities are all wrong. Okay? So, but again, when you listen to people like this, Melissa Harris Perry is a far-left liberal loon who has absolutely no clue what the hell she's talking about when it comes to education. And I don't care if she was standing in front of me, I'd tell her the same damn thing. And Kevin Swanson is a pastor and host of Generations Radio, and he's got the opposite end of that. He literally says at the end of that, if you heard that it is the parent's responsibility to, as my grandmother says, leave a legacy for your family. Don't depend on the state. Don't depend on inheritance. Don't depend on welfare. Don't depend on any of that, because that traps you into that same ideal that Melissa Harris Perry wants. So the first step in that regard is getting Common Core and any type of progressive education curriculum out of our schools. Period. End of sentence. Done. Get it out. Let me take some coffee and I'll be right back here. Just a second. Don't go away. Anyway, my other idea about education is the education of your children depends entirely upon you, but here's the thing. If you are so inclined to do so and you send your kids to public school, it is your responsibility to go in every week and literally have a meeting. Set it up yourself, whatever. It's however you want to do it. You meet with those teachers. Okay? And if you have the ability to pick your child up every day, you walk that child right back into that school and you go to each and every single teacher. And yeah, that's going to take a little bit of time. But isn't your child more important than your work? Because look, back in the 18th and 19th centuries, a lot of parents stayed home and taught their children. A lot of parents, dads went out and worked, moms stayed at home. Who was the teacher? The mother. And of course, in the 19th century and late 18th, early 19th century, of course, you had specifically in the 19th and 1800s, late 1800s, you had the churches opening themselves up to the hall of education. And that's where you get those one-room schools at. You heard that term from your great-grandfather or grandfather, it's like, we had one-room schools. Yeah, they had anybody from 3rd grade on up to 12th grade in that school, so you have all that. And the basic bottom line is this when I talk about Common Core. It is a piece of trash. It is brainwashing, indoctrination, where the system tells your child that you as the parent need to go away. Okay? That the state will take care of your kids. Let me tell you where that education and what that idea is leading to. And I'll talk about this after the bottom of the hour break, but I'll give you a website, and it's 2045.com. the numbers 2045 Go check that out. They're now brainwashing the kids. They're indoctrinating your children to keep you out of the loop, out of the system, so that the government and the system can take over to build your kid in the vision and the image of what the system wants your child to be. I know some of you progressives out there and some of you hardcore Democrats are saying, what's so wrong with that? I'll tell you what's wrong with that. You as the parent don't have the choice. Okay? And it's really, really difficult to talk to people who are of the progressive mindset. It is very, very difficult to talk to people like that, only because of the fact that they've made up their minds. And I know a lot of people are going to say, well, I haven't. I'm a Democrat. I haven't made up my mind. Well, you haven't? Then okay, dump your affiliation. Oh, but I get places if I stick with this party. And that's the thing, folks. Prestige, power, the people you know, the asses you have to kiss to get to one position to another, the bribes you have to take. Yes, that's all part of the Democratic Party. Go look it up. If you think I'm wrong, you better have some information to back up your accusations, because all you have to do is open your eyes and look at the party. Where it began, who put it together, all of that. Okay? So, a lot of people might think, and I'll say this, might think that you can change the mind of a progressive. You can change the mind of a Democrat. No, that's the dumbest thing I ever heard. I got to type something here to Mr. Bob Brutus over wakingupthemasses.com. And anyway, I just wanted to tell him that a few things that I had to tell him. The thing that is big for me in education is the fact that each individual, the parent included, each individual is responsible for their own education. That's the simplest way I can put it. I don't depend on others to educate me. I depend on others to give me clues and hints and talk to me and give me their views and their opinions. But if I have questions, I'm not going to ask them. I'm going to keep those questions in my mind as mental 3x5 cards and in a Rolodex, and I'm going to go out and find this stuff out myself. It's the easiest way for me to educate myself on these things, okay? It's not that I don't trust anybody's background, or it's not that I don't trust anybody's views or understanding of certain situations, but I will say this. I have met so many people that have told me so many things and claimed that it was true, and I'd go and do my research and find out they were full of crap, that I would go back to them and tell them, did you know this? Did you know that? I wouldn't accuse them of lying. I would just look at them and go, well, you didn't actually do your homework, did you? Here's what I found with what you told me, and they would just go and walk away. Facts are facts, folks. And if you have the facts in front of you, if you know the facts, if they're there, if what they are, is true to the subject that you're looking into, and everything lines up to be accurate, then that is the information to take. But then again, even some of the information I find and some of the opinions I have to go back and research and reread and really take a different look at it. Because again, and I'm from the background, from the type of family that was geared to only one thing. So I had to step outside that box, that narrow-mindedness, to break free of the limits that others put on me. And I found a whole lot of stuff out. But then again, I kept researching some of the stuff that I found and found more stuff. And sometimes I even found out that I was wrong. And I was okay with that, because it only gave me that extra step to go to find out what was accurate. You know what I mean? So, anyway, enough of that. Enough. Yes. Anyway, I want to go on to something else. And at the bottom of the hour, after the break, I'll come back and get into the news on Free America Radio I want people to go to Free America Radio and post whatever material you have, whatever links you have, whatever blogs you have. Free America Radio on Facebook. The website is freeamericaradio.us, and you can email me at freeamericaradio@usa.com. From WorldNet Daily, WND, BLMI's takeover of 90,000 acres in Texas. Well, they're going to have a problem there, aren't they? Also, from Infowars.com, Homeland Security to purchase 25 million shotgun rounds. Kit Daniels over there wrote that article. Also, from Right Wing News on Facebook, Congress is overpaid, not underpaid. Congress should live in military housing and have military pay. I totally and absolutely agree with that. 21stCenturyWire.com, BLM shame, shocking animal Auschwitz. There we go, if I can say the word right. Animal Auschwitz left behind at Bundy Ranch in Nevada. They said they weren't killing cows and burying them. Yes, they were. The BLM was. They stole the cows, they killed them, they buried them. That's what it was. Also, and I mentioned this yesterday, from Americans for Prosperity in Nevada, taxed to death. You might want to go check that out. And, of course, so many highlights from yesterday that I'll get into. But a lot of things going on. If you want to help Free America Radio Network get to the next level, you can do that by going to freeamericaradio.us and donating one time if you'd like, or sponsor a show. You can do that. If you want to sponsor this show, The Views Expressed, you can do that as well. Email me at freeamericaradio@usa.com. That's freeamericaradio@usa.com, and we'll work something out. It's going to be really cheap for you. It's not going to break your pocketbook there, okay? It's not going to tear a hole in your wallet or nothing like that. It's going to be very, very reasonable, and it's going to help. So, like I said, if you want to donate, you can do that. Okay? So there you go. So, anyway, lots of things, still stuff going on out at the Bundy Ranch. Pete Santilli from the Pete Santilli Show on the Guerrilla Media Network was out there today. He's going back out there Thursday, and probably going to be out there till Saturday or whatever, how long he wants to stay out there, you know. He's the only independent media source that is out there on the scene, on the ranch, having dinner with them, talking with the sons, talking with the daughters, talking with people out there. He's the only one. I don't see Fox out there. I don't see CNN out there. I don't see any of them. I see him. I hear him. He's out there. Pete Santilli, the Pete Santilli Show, Guerrilla Media Network. He's the only one out there. Nobody else has the balls to go out there. I'd like to be out there, but I don't have the money or the way to get out there. Okay, so I got a way to take care of myself when I'm there, but I don't have a way to get there. So I would love to be out there broadcasting live and doing all that. But it is one of those things that we have to consider, that our federal government, throughout its alphabet soup of departments, is just a total and absolute sham. It's a facade. It's not. This government is so gone, so insane, that they think that the more insanity they instill in people, or the more insane things that they do, that it's going to get better. It's not. Okay, it's just not ever going to get better. From George Washington to George W. Bush. National debt was floating around somewhere about $6.8 trillion. Well, in the last 5.5, 6 years, this man has been in office. He's ran that bill up completely. He's spent that kind of money. He just borrowed and borrowed and borrowed. We are now sitting at almost $18 trillion. And what is it? $11 trillion of that is under this administration. So, I don't get it. I don't see why people ever voted him in the second time in 2012. I know I didn't. And I wonder where people's heads are at. Seriously. I do. I wonder. Wonder no more, folks. You see the fascism and the tyranny and the Marxist philosophies right there in front of your face every time he opens his mouth. So those that say, he's talking about whatever, if you are on the side of Obama, you are a complete and utter moron. I'll say it. Okay? I don't apologize for what I say. If you're stupid, I'll tell you that you're stupid. I don't apologize. But you offended me. So what? Grow thicker skin. I tell the truth. I get up in your face. I tell the truth. You don't like it? Unfriend me from Facebook and stop listening to the show. That's all there is to it. If people offend me, I go, oh, okay, and I walk away and I deal with it. I don't talk to that person ever again, but, so what? Big deal. Was it important? The information I share with you is important, and I hope that you go out and check it out yourself. That's all I'm doing. I'm sharing the truth, one fact at a time, hopefully encouraging you to go out and do your homework on this stuff, and I help you understand what's going on. I give you the links, the people that wrote the stories and all of that. So hopefully you can go out and look this stuff up yourself. Hey, folks, I am going to be back right after this message. Listen to the Diana and Wayne's Grab Bag Potpourri Talk Show, Friday nights at 8 p.m. Pacific, 11 p.m. Eastern, right here on Spreaker.com. Welcome back, folks. This is the Views Express Live right here for the 22nd of April, 2014. I am glad you are here. I'm just going to break in here just for a few minutes and just tell you that you can email me at freeamericaradio@usa.com, freeamericaradio@usa.com, and go to the website if you want to donate to help Free America Radio Network get to the next level. The website is freeamericaradio.us, freeamericaradio.us. I shall return right after this.
Listen to Angel Clark Monday through Friday, 5 to 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on the Radio Freedom News Network, radiofreedom.us.
No elitist dribble, no media spin. Logic over emotion, fact over fiction. The home of independent conservative thought. The Conservative Voice with your host, Jeff Wagner, only on the Conservative Radio Network.
Welcome back, folks. How you doing? This is the Views Express Live right here. Yes, email me, freeamericaradio@usa.com. There's so many things going on that sometimes, and correct me if I'm wrong, please. Sometimes we overlook the most simplest things. And sometimes we complicate the most simplest things, do we not? Does that happen? We overlook the simplest things and we complicate the simplest things. Now, my question to you is, when you look out at the environment of this geopolitical system around the world, what is it that has caused you to question the very basic principles of the foundation of the United States of America. You have to determine that on your own. I can't tell you, but what I saw in my life and what I've done in my years of researching all of this, I saw not one thing, but a whole lot of things. But in recent years, I've seen one thing that just is a glaring reminder that we live in a tyranny. Okay? Several years ago, I remember hearing about how the DHS and everybody, from NOAA, from the IRS, from the post office, buying ammunition, the BLM buying ammunition, which of course they don't need, okay? Coffee, love it. But I started seeing this. And now it's been, how many years? It's been a few years, and DHS has bought the equivalent of, and has contracted to buy the equivalent of 2.5 billion rounds of ammunition. Not million, billion with a B, okay? And here at an article from Infowars.com, Homeland Security to purchase 25 million shotgun rounds. DHS likely gearing up for mass panic in America with perpetual ammo purchases. Kit Daniels over at Infowars.com wrote this. Thank you, Kit. Yesterday, the Department of Homeland Security announced that it is seeking an ammunition dealer who can provide 25 million shotgun rounds to the agency over a 5-year period, adding to its already enormous arsenal of ammo. The solicitation, posted on fbo.gov, states that U.S. Customs and Border Protection, a department under DHS, is seeking, quote, shotgun ammunition for the use by all applicable, that's a hard word to say, agencies in the Department of Homeland Security, unquote, for specifically 3 million rounds, more specifically, 3 million rounds of shotgun slugs per year and 2 million rounds of buckshot per year for 5 years. Quote, the ammunition will be used as appropriate at all Department of Homeland Security, DHS, or department component locations nationwide and outside the continental U.S. The notice reads, this is an excessive amount that not only reveals the vast scope of the emerging police state, but also fuels fears that DHS is preparing for large-scale mass panic in America. And as we exhaustively documented in the past, as Infowars has documented in the past, mass ammunition purchases by DHS are becoming quite common. Earlier this year, Earlier this year, Homeland Security stockpiled over 141,000 rounds of .308 Winchester ammunition, a rifle round well known for its consistency in long-range shooting. The agency requested 168 grain rounds in particular, which have an effective range of 800 to 900 yards. Folks, a football field is 300 yards. And last year, DHS released a market survey asking companies if they were able to provide 2 million rounds of ammunition under short notice. The survey also asked companies for both their capabilities in producing, quote, large quantity orders of any training caliber specified, unquote, within 2 months, and what their lead time would be for a single order of 2 million rounds. It has been estimated that over the past couple of years, DHS ammunition purchases have totaled over 2.5 billion rounds, with much of the ammunition being hollow point rounds known for their effectiveness at stopping human targets. DHS has spent $80 million on armed guards to protect government facilities in New York last year, and even sought more guards for federal buildings in Minnesota and Wisconsin. More recently, the agency spent over $58 million for security details for 2 Social Security offices in Maryland. But that's not all. Back in March, DHS began taking delivery of hundreds and perhaps even thousands of recently retrofitted mine-resistant ambush-protected vehicles, or MRAPs, once used in Iraq and Afghanistan, but now destined to roam the streets of America. While these expenditures reveal that DHS is gearing up for civil unrest, the bulk ammunition purchases in particular are also exasperating current ammunition shortages across America in what can be described as backdoor gun control. And it isn't just DHS making large-scale ammunition purchases. Last February, the United States Postal Service announced it was seeking proposals. This is a quote. Proposals for assorted small arms ammunition, unquote. After intense scrutiny, USPS later claimed that the mass purchases were for its postal police. Did you know that the post office had police? Continuing, but there is a massive arms buildup by just about every federal agency in existence. Even the U.S. Department of Education has been stockpiling firearms and ammunition since at least 2001, considering how well-armed Bureau of Land Management agents were during the recent standoff at the Bundy Ranch. The increased militarization of government agencies is frightening indeed. Note, despite the overwhelming evidence that DHS and other federal agencies are clearly engaged in a massive arms buildup with billions of rounds, armored vehicles, and cutting-edge weaponry, the mainstream media has continued to either outright deny or downplay what is going on. For example, in an article entitled "Homeland Security's Ammunition Purchases Should Not Worry You," the Military Times claimed that the ammo buildup was not excessive. The article also suggested that having 100,000 DHS-armed agents in America, which is a de facto standing army, was not a bad thing. Other media outlets such as Media Matters and Raw Story have also made similar statements. Yet it is becoming crystal clear what is happening in America as these articles below present a glaring trend. There's a bunch of links to different articles, folks. Go check them out. And this is on Free America Radio on Facebook. Check this out. Seriously. It is something that that we all need to be concerned with. And my question to you hardcore liberals out there, and I'm talking middle of the road to the hardcore liberal loons that want collectivism, let me ask you a question. Between the time you dial 911 if something happens in your home and the time that the officer shows up, how long is that? On average, it's about anywhere between 20 to 30 minutes. Now, if I'm armed and somebody comes into my house unwelcomed and I have to take care of business to protect my family, it's going to be seconds. Then I'll dial 911 and have them bring a body bag. Okay, so you hardcore liberals out there who think that, we'll just leave it up to the system. Yeah, you people are complete and utter morons. Coffee, folks. I love coffee. Anyway, do you understand what's going on here, folks? Do you absolutely understand what's going on here? Okay. I have never once, in my so many years being alive at this point, have ever seen this much firepower go to local authorities. Why is it going to local authorities? A couple of years ago, a year and a half ago or so, I don't remember exactly which, but I do remember reading an article about the Pentagon putting out a notice to all local law enforcement in every county saying, hey, we got surplus military equipment. All you got to do is pay for it to get it there, and that's it. Pay for shipping and handling, and it's yours. And look what, and I challenge you, and I challenge everybody to do this. And I get no emails. Why? You don't like my show? Why? You don't want to know the truth? Why? You don't want to show me what's going on in your area? Hey, I want to know what's going on because you guys are the front line to supporting and defending the Constitution and the Bill of Rights of the United States of America. I want to show people on my website what's going on in your area. Why not? So email me, please. Send me your information to freeamericaradio@usa.com, freeamericaradio@usa.com. If you have any questions, concerns, comments, ask me anything you like. No question is off limits. If I don't know, I will tell you I don't know. It's just as simple as that, folks. Folks, I'm going to take a slight little break here. Slight little break. Yeah, you like that? Yeah, I'm going to take a break. I shall return right after this. What else do you have to do on a Friday night? Why not come check out Diana and Wayne's Grab Bag Potpourri Talk Show at 7 p.m. Pacific, 10 p.m. Eastern, right here on Spreaker.com.
This is Michael Vera with Late Night in the Midlands, and you're listening to the Views Expressed live with your host, Reverend Wayne Pierce, on the Free America Radio Network.
Welcome back. Welcome back. This is the Views Express live right here for the 22nd of April 2014. Now, this whole thing about the Bundy Ranch, this whole thing about Bunkerville, Nevada, down there by Mesquite as well. As I said before, the only independent alternative media personality and journalist is Pete Santilli. He's down there, and I don't know who the other media darlings are that are down there, if any. I think he's the only one at this point. He was down there in the beginning asking questions, why you got backhoes and what's in the back of the truck. Well, we found out later on they were killing that the BLM was killing cows and burying them and stuff like that because, that's what the BLM does. They're thugs. So anyway, Pete Santilli was down there when all this started. Cliven Bundy really reached out to the general public, and over 2,000 people showed up at his ranch to protect him from the BLM, and that was the only reason why the BLM backed off. Okay, that and a few other things. But if it wasn't for the Second Amendment, they wouldn't have gone down there, folks. They would not have a reason to be down there, nor if they did go down there, they wouldn't have anything to protect themselves with. The Second Amendment is key to protecting the First Amendment, period. That's what I tell people on Facebook. Hey, my Second Amendment protects your First Amendment. So there you go. I'm all for wearing guns. I'm all for wearing weapons. I'm all for concealed carry. I'm all for all the safety measures involved. I grew up around guns, I know. All the safety measures, common sense, all of that within handling a weapon. Now, these morons on the far left liberal side, and I know some liberals that are for the Second Amendment. I know liberals who were for the Second Amendment. But they're also, like I just said, common sense, peaceful, that kind of thing. But here's the thing. We have a president and a vice president who are the dumbest pieces of crap on the face of the planet because they want to get rid of your Second Amendment. Actually, they want to rewrite the whole Constitution. That's the thing. I want you, this is a segment from Infowars.com, and I want you to listen to specifics here. And it just gets right down to the nitty-gritty. And I'm gonna play this. This is from Infowars.com, one of the reporters there on the nightly news, sharing this from a couple of years ago, actually. And you'll find this quite interesting, I think. If you have any questions, email me, freeamericaradio@usa.com, freeamericaradio@usa.com. Take a listen to this.
And Obama and Biden seek to have more gun control because we don't have enough. So Vice President Biden seeks action on guns, striving to take action where Congress would not. The Obama administration announced the new steps Thursday on gun control. One new policy will end a government practice that lets military weapons sold or donated by the U.S. to allies be reimported into the U.S. by private entities. Joined by Attorney General Eric Holder, Biden formally unveiled the new measures Thursday while swearing in Todd Jones, whose confirmation to the head of BATF after 6 years of political wrangling to fill that position. The Daily Caller reports that what this executive order does is it kills a 110-year-old civilian marksmanship program. That's really what this executive order does. And for today's quote of the day, who controls the issuance of money controls the government. That's Nathan Meyer Rothschild.
Did you hear that, folks? Did you hear the specifics in there? Okay. Bottom line is, this current regime under the Obama administration does not want you to be free. They want you to be enslaved. They're getting their marching orders from others, okay? They're getting people from the CFR, from just everything, Trilateral Commission. Everybody's walking into the office saying, this person over here wants this person over here is telling this, blah, blah, blah. Folks, it's a charade. It always has been. It always will be. It is. They're lying to you through their freaking teeth. They don't have. I'm not going to say they're stupid, even though I call them morons. They're not that stupid. So let me put it to you this way. They know what they're doing. They're doing it for evil purposes. And when I say evil, I'm talking the epitome of evil. They're doing it because they want to enslave you. They're doing it because they want to basically kill you. You know, they basically want to, end you as you are. I mean, if you look at the Georgia Guidestones, and if you look and listen to what Ted Turner and Bill Gates said about depopulation of the earth, yeah, they want to enslave you, and if you die on the job, well, they got other slaves that they can, put in your place and go from there. I mean, that's basically what it is. And it's sometimes a lot of people find it hard to understand that, and some people find it hard to really wrap their mind around that. To say, wait a minute, that's not what our government's doing. Yes, it is. Yes, it is. What, you don't believe it? What, is there something about that you don't believe? I don't know. I always refer to, or I confer to the expert, Mr. Bob Brutus, on the Freemason and Illuminati faction of this whole organization we call Washington, D.C. And I can tell you now that there are many, and various tentacles of these organizations that have reached into Washington, D.C. and plucked out the most incredibly charismatic, if not overly intelligent person to guide everything to do one thing: dumb down everybody else so that one smart person can control the whole mass. And that's just basic and probably too vague, but I mean, that's basically the understanding that I have of it all. For what it is, and for how it has transpired throughout the ages, even through Roman Empire, even through the Egyptian Empire, we have clues, folks, as to how this country is going to be if you and I don't finally just stand up and put to end all the tyranny and racism and prejudice and all that. Doesn't matter what color you are, folks. You're a human being. Doesn't matter what political or religious affiliation you have. You're a human being. Right? And it doesn't really matter whether or not I agree with you or disagree with you. You are a human being, and if you are being, pelted by academic liberal intellectualism, trying to tell you you've got to live their way, I'm going to help you break out of that trance by any means necessary. Okay? So, when we get to a point, though, where we have too many smart people in one place, what's that adage? What's that? Power corrupts, and absolute power corrupts absolutely. Is that what it is? I have a variation of that, and that is, being smart is one thing, but having a room full of smart people is not a good thing. Okay? Because they'll start contriving and making deals and conniving and trying to take over. You know, it always happens. And if you have one person or two people in that room that has an ego of any size whatsoever, and you get other people saying, oh, you are smart, you're smarter than me, and start patting them on the back, oh, you've got somebody who is so narcissistic and such a control freak that they're going to try to take over the whole room. Okay? Being smart is good. Having a room full of smart people is not good. Okay? I mean, that's the bottom line. But as we venture on through this life, as we go about our business and do what we need to do in life, being so melodramatic there, folks, we have to understand that there is an ideology which they, ones in Washington, D.C., the far-left liberal loons, live by. And that ideology basically has principles founded upon just total and absolute ignorance. Okay? I mean, they'll take something and, you know, if they don't like what it is, they'll change it to their own way of thinking or to their own, you know, idea of what they want. I mean, they spin the news every which way they can to try to, you know, get people brainwashed to believe what they want you to believe. So, I mean, that whole process is what they do. And that process is what myself and Pete Santilli and Nick Tucker and, you know, Brian Lang and Bob Brutus and all those folks are trying to show you. This is the process. They're trying to tear us down. Here's what's going on. Hello? You know, this is what's happening. And so, in that, myself, I try to identify those things that are crucial for you to understand and to look at and say, you know what, that's wrong. You know. So anyway, let me go to Free America Radio on Facebook from 21stCenturyWire.com. Patrick Henningsen over there has a show on Sundays. And the Sunday Wire. And here's what it says. BLM shame. Shocking animal Auschwitz left behind at the Bundy Ranch in Nevada. Warning, article contains graphic images of severe animal abuse and mutilation. I just want to tell you that. When you go to the article, you got to click on the picture to go to the article, folks. Says here, after being forced to vacate public lands by ranchers and peaceful protesters, Uncle Sam left the most disturbing calling card of all at the Bundy Ranch. This week, farmers and public officials have unearthed more fresh evidence proving the existence of U.S. taxpayer-funded mass animal graves left behind at the Bureau of Land Management's Field Operations compound. By the way, Pete Santilli went out there just recently. He's out there now, but he went out there this past weekend and such, and he went to that where they had the BLM compound, and they pulled up stakes and left. There's nothing there. But they dug up a whole lot of dead animals. That's what was left there as well. Continuing, so far, it's believed at least a dozen previously healthy animals have been found either shot in the head, discarded, and buried in what can only be described as a merciless industrial-scale kidnapping and murdering of cattle by the U.S. federal government. As yet, it is unknown just how many of the Bundy family's prize herd were shot or killed by running cows to death in the desert heat using government helicopters, as more dead animals are being discovered each day, some on the open plain and others buried in the Gold Butte area. Reports also confirm that many baby calves were also left for dead after being separated from their mothers during the aggressive U.S. government roundup. Nearly 2 weeks ago, 21st Century Wire was the first media outlet to raise the question of the BLM killing cattle on the Bundy Ranch. Ranchers first became suspicious of that the BLM may have been killing cattle last week, April 9th, when members of the Bundy family spotted heavy equipment, backhoe diggers and dump trucks, moving in and out of BLM's secret federal compound. When the residents and supporters confronted BLM agents with questions regarding their operation, they were met with a wall of denial, followed by an aggressive attack where men and women were beaten and repeatedly tased by BLM agents. In hindsight, it is now clear that those protesters were correct and that federal agents were evading discovery of their crimes. Fortunately, the attack by federal agents was caught on videotape by reporter Peter Santilli from Guerrilla Media Network, which helped to elevate the issue to a national platform, as well as making it one of the fastest viral YouTube videos ever, accumulating over 1 million views in only 4 days. And then the video is there. And, of course, there's graphic pictures. And again, sorry, but that's just the way it is. They show the devastation. 21st Century Wire shows the devastation of what the BLM left behind when they vacated. And this is the kind of crap that we have to deal with, folks. Secret, the BLM was trying to get in there secretly and build a compound and take the cattle and kill them and do all that. And that's what they wanted to do. Well, they could have done something else. As a matter of fact, here's what they should have done. Not been out there in the first place. Because lawyers have already come forward, lawyers who are very well versed in land management and land acquisition and laws grandfathered in and all this, have said that the Bundys are in the right and that the BLM and the federal government are wrong. Period. End of sentence. I stand with the Bundys. I stand with the family. Why? It's their land. Not the BLM. BLM came in after all the Bundys got their land and all this. You know what it's about, though? Here, let me tell you this before I go to the top of the hour break. Let me tell you this. Senate Majority Leader Senator Harry Reid, his family, yes, and they're going to deny it till hell freezes over. His family is so rooted in the corruption of Nevada that in 1981, from what I understand, allegedly in 1981, there was a car bomb. Yes. A car bomb went off. But it was, basically geared for him and it went off elsewhere. There were so many connections to organized crime that the Reid family had that Senator Harry Reid was trying to distance himself from, and that other people protected Harry Reid from getting his fingers, caught in a cookie jar. But guess what? Whitmore, the biggest donor to the Reid campaign. Okay? So there's so much corruption behind the scenes that this is not about turtles out in the desert. This is about a massive federal land grab, and the top of the pyramid of this would be, that's offending pyramids. At the top of the list on who's trying to grab the land is Harry Reid. And his son is denying all of it. Well, There's a massive investigation that is taking place, and that is going to be taking place, let's say, and it is going to expose this whole family and their corruption in all of this. It's not about desert turtles. They've been living out there for thousands of years. It doesn't really matter. And the cows just look at them and go, oh, I got to step around them. Okay. Whatever. It goes a lot deeper, and I would suggest you folks go out and check this out. Just research it yourself, because you're not going to believe me. You think I'm, a few fries short of a Happy Meal. And I'm not. I'm very truthful, very honest, and very in your face. And if you don't believe me, you need to go check this stuff out yourself. Folks, I'm going to go to the top of the hour break. Please stay tuned for more from the Views Expressed podcast right here on the Free America Radio Network. Go to freeamericaradio.us and email me, freeamericaradio@usa.com. Government cover-ups, corruption, illegal wars, NSA spying, CIA-funded operations. What more do you need to know about what is happening in the United States of America? The elites are actively pursuing the total collapse of the United States of America by using false flag events to further erode the foundations of this country and to destroy the Constitution and the Bill of Rights of the United States of America. Take a stand. Defend your liberties and freedoms. FreeAmericaRadio.us. Welcome back, folks. Hey, thank you. Go to freeamericaradio.us for more information. Go to or email me at freeamericaradio@usa.com, freeamericaradio@usa.com. More than happy to hear from you. Please go check out Brian Lang at livetruthradio.com and also Live Truth Radio on wakingupthemasses.com. Also check out Bob Brutus with 2 shows, Waking Up the Masses and also Kicking the Capstone on wakingupthemasses.com. Check that out as well. Also, there's just so much going on. Please check out The Pete Santilli Show on GorillaMediaNetwork.com. Check that out. Monday through Friday, 10 a.m. Pacific, right there on Gorilla Media Network. So, yes, check it out. Folks, I usually do a 1-hour podcast, but I've talked so long that I'm only going to give you a few more minutes here, and then I'm going to get out of here for the, because I've been seeing more news that I got to go check on. So, and please go to wakingupthemasses.com and thank Bob Brutus for giving my show a shot there on wakingupthemasses.com. If there's anything that you can do to help Bob Brutus out and wakingupthemasses.com, Waking Up the Masses Radio Network, please do. Email him and ask him how you can help with Waking Up the Masses Radio Network. So, and if you have a show, see if you can get on his network. So, anything that you can do to help him out, I'm sure he appreciates that. And also, remember, Brian Lang, livetruthradio.com, also on wakingupthemasses.com. If you want to sponsor his show or Bob Brutus' show or my show, please ask us. We're more than happy to answer any questions you have. And if you want to help out Brian Lang with Live Truth Radio as well, ask him how you can help him out. And he'll sure appreciate that. Maybe I can get some elocution lessons and learn how to speak. So I don't know. Folks, again, go to freeamericaradio.us. Donate if you can. I do accept PayPal and Bitcoin. So if you are if you have one of those, please help out. You can donate once. That's cool. I thank you for that. But if you want to sponsor the show, please email me at freeamericaradio@usa.com, and we can work something out. It's not going to break your wallet, folks. It's not going to, tear your budget up or nothing, because, all it's going to do is help Free America Radio Network get to the next level and possibly get on more micro broadcasting stations around the country. So, please, whatever you can do for the independent media, like myself and Bob Brutus and Nick Tucker on Distorted Reality with Nick Tucker on Facebook, and also Brian Lang on Life Truth Radio, please help us out. We're more than happy to accept it, and we will thank you immensely for it, because your help is vitally important in this day and age when we have a government with severe mental problems, okay? So their overreach and their tyranny is not going to break us or anything else for that matter. Like William Cooper says, where you draw that line and you cross that line, you come across that line, that's where your rights begin, okay? You draw that line, there's your, I can't quote it exactly. You're going to have to go look it up. But thank you, Mr. Bob Brutus. Thank you, Mr. Brian Lang, for your shows as well. And thank you, Mr. Nick Tucker, who I will have on the show tomorrow on the Views Express Live. I will have Mr. Nick Tucker on the show tomorrow. We will discuss the Bundy Ranch. We will discuss Harry Reid's connections. We will discuss what's happening in Washington, D.C., and a whole bunch of other things. So please come listen to the Views Express Live tomorrow at 4 p.m. Pacific, 7 p.m. Eastern. My guest will be Nick Tucker from Distorted Reality with Nick Tucker on Facebook. So come check it out. And I always like to leave people with something, so I'm going to leave you with this. And I say this every time at the end of the show. We the people have the power, for we are America.